Well, hello, and a beautiful day to all of you who are live and alive on Conversations with Dr. Els. It's really great to have you guys locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. It's a beautiful day. God is awesome. Amen. And we're glad to have you. We are glad to have you. All right. In Conversations with Dr. Els. And so we want you to share this broadcast, share this conversation, let persons know that Conversations with Dr. Els is on live and alive, and we are looking forward to see you guys. We're looking forward to have you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Good day to you, Colleen. Great having you locked on. And remember, share the broadcast, share this conversation with your friends. Go to the bottom left of your screen and click share. Share it in your group, share it on your timeline, share it on your page. Let everybody know Conversations with Dr. Els is on. So again, we welcome you to Conversations with Dr. Els. Those of you who have joined, we are happy that you are here. We are happy that you are on. And I want to just remind you of a few things morning. This morning, I want to just remind you of a few things. But before I do that, let me say hi to Marilyn. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. It's great having you guys here live in this conversation. And remember, you can join in the conversation. You don't just have to sit there. You can comment and share your ideas. This conversation is for us to share our ideas and let people know what we're thinking, where we can help somebody. All right, we know that you are able to do so, so we want to encourage you to do so. But before we get into our conversation, I want to remind you of two things that are coming up, to great events. One, from December 6th to 15, 2022 is our Holy Land Classic Tour. You can join us on that Holy Land Tour. This is a great experience, and we want you to join us on that tour. So we just want to just take a look at and listen to this ad.
A Holy Land classic. See the birthplace of Jesus, Bethlehem, Jerusalem, the Mount of Olives, Nazareth, and many other interesting Bible sites. For more information, contact Dr. Neil at 246-249-0322. Email klcavalcounselors@gmail.com or Dale Lane at 246-822-5651. Don't you miss this. Have you ever dreamed of visiting it?
Okay, so that is our Holy Land tour on December 6th to 15, 2022. And you can message me right here and say, Dr. Els, I want to join that Holy Land tour. I'm telling you, it's an experience you will never forget. It makes the Bible come to life. All right. And so we want to encourage you to join us on this Holy Land tour. But just in case you say, Dr. Els, it's a bit too short for me, but I would like to join you on one of these tours. Um, because we do these faith-based tours so that the Bible could come alive. Because one of the things that I understand in the West, we don't really fully understand what happened, or what happened, and even what happens sometime in the East. And one way to bring the Bible to light is to go to the places where the Bible talk about, where they were written. So in Israel, you walk the streets that Jesus walked. You sit on a boat on the Sea of Galilee. You go to the Mount of Olives, and you go to the mountain where Jesus taught, and you walk the Via Dolorosa. You see the Garden Tomb, and with all of that, it brings you a great appreciation for the Bible. I always tell this story. When I before I went to Israel in 2018, I would read the Bible, and I would often read about Mary Magdalene. And most of the time I thought that Mary Magdalene was her name. All right. I thought that, Mary was probably her first name and Magdalene was her last name, until I went to Israel and we went to a place called Magdala, where Mary would have wash Jesus' feet with her tears, and anoint his feet and such like that. And we come to realize that it's really the scripture really would in its correct reading should be Mary of Magdala, or Mary the Magdalene, which it's like Jesus the Nazarene, Jesus from Nazareth, so Jesus the Nazarene. And among so many other things that I've learned and I've seen and I've gotten to appreciate more, being there in Israel. And you can have that come to light. You see, visiting Israel, visiting these places, it's like a bridge from the Bible world to your world, and so you understand it even better. So I want to encourage you to join me. We still have some time. We still have some spaces. Join me December 6th to 15 on that Holy Land tour. But just in case you can do it, next year, God's willing, 2023, December 2023, we are heading to Egypt, to Turkey, and to Greece. So Egypt, we would visit the Red Sea, we would visit Mount Sinai, and we know that we would visit the route of the Exodus and such like that, and you would have a better understanding of that. We will also visit in Greece, in Athens, and these places where Paul would have gone on his missionary journey and would have spoken of. So if you're not able to join me, this year, December, which I would really love for you to do, you can also join me next year, God's willing, for the Turkey, Egypt, and Greece tour. But just take a look at this video. Okay, so again, I want to encourage you. I want you to encourage you to join me on one of these Holy Land Classic or Turkey going to have a splendid time together. Remember, do me a favor and share this conversation. Let persons know Conversations with Dr. Els is on. Let me say hi to Melissa. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Zoe, great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. And there are several places that you can link on us. People's Worship Center, that's my home church, Facebook page, KLN TV. Guys, I tell you, we are revolutionizing this thing. I want to encourage you. You can go to www.klmnetwork.tv, and that is a web TV that we've started. I want you to join me there, have some great programs, some great music. Or if you have the Roku TV or the Roku app, you can also download that. You know the channel KLN TV on your Roku, and you will see Conversations with Dr. Els. You would see many of the things there. Let me say hi to Cecilia. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Again, do me a favor and just share this conversation. Great having all of you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. So let's get into our topic. Over the last few weeks, we have been talking about singleness, right? And the issues that single persons face, all right? And we have been talking about singleness from the standpoint of persons who are single and have decided to stay single, or persons who are single and is still looking for a partner but haven't found a partner yet, and the challenges, the issues that they would face. We also looked at someone who is single because of the death of a spouse, and we said that there are some things that are different. There's some challenges that that person have that is different than someone who is single because they decided to either stay single or they haven't been married yet. So then we look at those issues, and we also look at the issue of singleness from the standpoint, or from the point of view of a person who is divorced or separated, or their marriage is annulled, and the challenges they face, and even the joys and such from that standpoint. All right. And today we are going to look at something that's a little different, if I would say it so, but we're looking at singleness from the standpoint of someone who is married but yet live their life as single. All right. So before we get into it, I just want to say hi to a couple other persons. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. My brother Evan is there in North Carolina. Great having you locked on. Reverend Colleen, great having you locked on. Cecilia, great having you locked on. So we have Barbados in the house, USA in the house. We have Canada in the house. We do have Africa in the house. And so, guys, again, I encourage you to share this live broadcast and tell somebody Conversations with Dr. Els is on. All right. So great having you watching, great having you locked on, all of you, to Conversations with Dr. Els. So the question may be, but how could someone be married and still single? How could someone be married and still single? Well, the truth is, if we use the legal definition of marriage, right, the person is married, right? But when we look at the behaviors, when we look at the lifestyle okay, we can say that the person is single. And so we're taking it from that standpoint. While we understand that they are legally married, we're taking it from the standpoint of how they behave. All right. And so you can have two persons who are legally married but live their lives as single persons. And we know that people get married for several different reasons. Some a contractual relationship, and some get married so that they can probably get a stay in another country, or some get married because they just fed up being on their own. And so what we have persons who are married but live their lives as single persons. We have persons who they go along their life as normal. So you may have two persons who in their career, and they've been just going. So you have that happen, and you say, well, but they are legally married, but they're not living as married people should be. All right, good day to you, Valine. Great to have you locked on with conversations with Dr. Els. All right, so I know of a person. Let me give you an example. And I think I gave this example already on conversations with Dr. Els. But I know of persons. There was a policeman and a nurse. All right, a police and a nurse who is married, but they the police when the police get up in the morning to go to work. When the police get up in the morning to go to work, the nurse is now coming home. All right, and when the nurse goes to work in the night, the policeman is now coming home, and vice versa. And so they are not able to effectively interact with each other. Okay, they're not able to interact with each other. And so it's almost as if they are passing each other. All right, as if they're passing each other. So they kind of live their lives. And of course, you know what happened later, because of the stress of that, their marriage did not last. And I'm just seeing here that in the conversation, some get married for the wrong reasons. And remember, you can share your point of view in our conversation. Okay, so we have that, and both of them would have been living their lives, right? And so they basically live as singles. But not only that, we do have people who are married who actually live or sleep in separate rooms. In separate rooms. We do have persons who live, and they probably just see themselves, see each other. They see each other, probably in the kitchen, in the living room, or whatever. And there is no real communication. There is no real togetherness, right? And so you have that happening. But so therefore, if you are married like that, you are and you're behaving like that, you are really single. All right, and therefore you can't really say that you are truly married. You are married on in books, on the book. You're married on in the legal thing, but you are not married in terms of your relationship together, right? So this is the issue that we're talking about. Persons who are married and yet single. All right. So if you have that, I can say from the onset that there will always be challenges in that relationship. And there will be there will be the stressful situations. There are situations where the persons are not interacting with each other, and for some people it really takes a mental toll. And you might say, well, the persons they have decided to live that way. But that is not marriage at all. So you are really single. All right, you don't understand, you don't understand each other, you don't understand how things work. If you have a marriage where there is no trust, or there's no information, there's no communication, or let me put it that way, there is no effective communication, then I like how it is put, you are singularly married. All right, I love that, you are singularly married. All right, and therefore you have those situations that we need to deal with. And if you are having issues in that way, you need to see someone who can counsel you. You need to see someone who can talk with you through that situation, because it affects every aspect of your life. Can you imagine you have a husband and a wife, and the wife is working for her own money, income, the husband his. There is no communication with regards to paying the bills, with regards to um, dealing with issues in the family, and so the wife don't know where the husband is, or the husband don't know where the wife is, and vice versa. They come when they want, they go when they want, they don't say anything to each other, but yet on the books they are legally married. Hear me, you are single. All right, and that is a challenge, and persons who are in that relationship would lead ultimately to a separation or a divorce. And so that's a challenge that you have if you're married. Or I really love that term that you put in the chat. If you are singularly married, then you are facing challenges. And so what we have in situations like that, you have persons who in terms of binding, I've heard of stories where either the husband or the wife will go out to buy something for the house because they feel okay, it is needed, and then the other partner would have gone and bought the same thing. So because they live in a single life, they're not interacting as well, then they don't know what is happening. They don't know how to deal with that. And therefore, we have the challenge where the marriage is really going to end up in separation. And not only that, but we talked about if you're married and you're not having intimacy with your partner, then you are single. And I want to stress the fact that the Bible, one, the key in should I say the key? But one key thing in marriage relationship is sexual intimacy, and we sometimes are afraid to talk about that. We sometimes are afraid to deal with that, but that is a key part in a marriage, and it is not a man's thing alone. All right, because some people would say all that men want is sex. Studies have shown, and I've just heard it again recently, but studies have shown a man's greatest need is not sex. A man's greatest need is respect. right? And so if there's no respect in the marriage, then you're really living single, right? And what happened is that if you're living a singular life, it's like if you are going along a road and you're going parallel each other. You're going forward, but you're going parallel each other, and you keep going, and there is no way that the road merges so that you can meet each other. So you're living your life over here, you're taking care of your bills, you're doing all that you want to do, you're not communicating, there is no level of accountability, there is no level of intimacy. The other partner is doing the same thing. They involve in their career, they involve in all sort of things, and there is no communication, there's no intimacy. Then you are really singularly married. I just want to pause and just say hi to Vanetta. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Hi to Bronwyn. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. And please do me a favor, just share this conversation. Click at the bottom left of your screen and share this conversation. There are many who need to hear this. But let's take some comments, all right? It is saying that it can also end up in adulterous relationship, and that is so true. That is a fact. If you keep going along because you're living your own life, there's no accountability. When needs are not met in the household, then persons can find themselves going out and trying to meet those needs out there, and therefore it ends up in an adulterous relationship. Okay. It also is said communication and understanding each other is the key to a successful marriage. All right, and that is so true. As you communicate, as you marriage, you learn to understand and to communicate with each other and to walk with each other, even through the challenges that you face. You know, one of the things that I've seen that COVID, we would say COVID would have either, I believe, showed up in some marriages is the fact that their communication skills are really lacking. Because in the time of COVID, when you spend a lot of time together, you realize that, hey, we are not able to communicate with each other. We're not able to understand each other. And because of that, it is said, and I am hoping that I might be able to do a survey on that, because I don't know if there's any official survey done, but there are a lot of persons whose marriage has ended up in divorce or separation during those 2 years that we had COVID just taking across the world. And I'm talking about Christian marriage. I'm talking about even leaders and such like that, and it would be good to find out some of the issues that has caused that. But yes, communication and understanding is important. Respect is important with both partners. It is said the partner going outside of marriage seek to fill needs, and so that's what we're saying. You can be married legally and are living a single life, and when that happens, there are so many things that take place in that, right? There's so many issues that come up if you are married and you're living a single life. You're not communicating, you're not interacting, you're not engaging in intimacy, whether it is sexual intimacy, intellectual intimacy, or such, right? So you're not there's no trust there because you're going along your own way, and therefore you're not able to trust each other, and so it brings a sense that, hey, I live my life, you live your life. And so, as I usually say, what happens there is that really you are roommates. That's basically what you are. You're really not married, but you are roommates. You're just maybe well, shacking up may not be the right word there, because people who use the term shack up, I don't even know. I would not even continue to use that term, because I don't like that term too much. But you really just being roommates, and so you're there, and you are not fulfilling each other's needs, and therefore you are not going to be successful in your relationship. And so what happens is that it takes a mental toll on each other. And I didn't want to use, but um cohabitating is really a better word to use for shacking up. But why I really pulled back on that word, because we have persons who are living together. They're not legally married, and we say they're cohabitating and such like that, but they're involved with each other. And that's why on this program we talk not only just about marriage in terms of legally, because we do have persons who view our program, have lifelong, who are partners who've been living together, and they're not legally married according to the law. And we are not saying whether we on this program we are open to everyone, and we share things from a Christian standpoint. So if you're on this program, you will know that this is shared from a faith-based perspective. All right, and that is a perspective that we share from, but we deal with the issues, and we know that the reality is there aren't everyone isn't legally married for some reason or each other. But even if you're living together, if you're not legally married, and you're living together, you've decided that, hey, this person is my lifelong partner, and you are doing your own thing. It's really stand the same way that you are singularly, and I'll use that term, you are singularly cohabitated, if you put it that way. All right. And so what happens when there's breakdown in communication, when there are no when there's no intimacy in the relationship, when both persons are heading on the same track? What we're gonna happen is that relationship, that marriage, is going to crash. All right, it is going to crash, because you're heading full speed on your own. And how could you how could someone, let me put it this way, how could someone say that they're married, or they have a lifelong partner, and not communicate, and not sit down together and work things out? So might as well you just live on your own. Might as well you just stay where you are. Might as well you just involve in meeting your needs by yourself, how you can, right? So singleness is really not only where you have persons not being married or divorced or separate, but you have persons who are married. And I'm telling you, it is sad to say that happens among Christians. All right, that happens among Christian relationship. There are many Christian relationship. If you go to the churches, you're going to find persons, and if they're honest with themselves, will tell you that they have not had great communication with their spouse or partner in weeks and months. They're persons who have not had sexual relationship with their partner in weeks or months, and in some cases years. And so that pushes the partner to go outside. And I remember I said something like this some time ago on conversation, and persons are saying, well, that doesn't give the person the right to go outside. But I am not saying that it gives the person the right. I'm not saying whether the person should or should not. But the fact is, the reality of life is, if you are seeking something, if you are wanting something, if you need your needs fulfilled, and it should be fulfilled in a certain place, and you expect it to be fulfilled in a certain place and it's not there, it pushes the person, unless the person is really strong and has that self-control, it pushes the person to go on the outside to fulfill that need. But if the person doesn't even do that, it causes mental issues. The person is stressed mentally. The person reacts differently, and so you have all those issues if the person is living a singularly married life. And so my encouragement to you, if you have a partner, if you are married, that you seek to fulfill each other's needs, that you seek to communicate with each other. You can tell me that you're married for 5, 10, um, 15 years, or you're together for 5, 10, 15 years, and you don't know how much your partner is working for. You don't know about the bills. You're not interacting about the household. Maybe you have children and there's no communication in raising the children. So mother want to take the child to Disney World, and father want to take the child to Hollywood, and there is that back and forth. So it does not just affect the adults or the parents, but if there are children involved, then it will affect the children also. Okay, it will affect the children also. And so I want to encourage you that if you are married, be married. Don't be married and single. If you are in a relationship, if you have a partner, you're in a relationship, have that partner. All right. And intertwine your lives together. Let me just pause and say hi to Jacinta. Great having you locked on. Hi to Beulah. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. And remember also, just to let you know, you can view Conversations with Dr. Els on KLN TV if you have the Roku app, or on KLMnetwork.tv. On the web, you can view Conversations with Dr. Els there. And we are also on Caribbean Gospel Jam. Okay, we are on Caribbean Gospel Jam, and so you can view Conversations with Dr. Els also on Caribbean Gospel Jam. Okay, on Caribbean Gospel Jam TV, you can look at Conversations with Dr. Els there also. All right. And let me encourage you to share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. All right. Um, all right. So here's some other comments. I think intimacy is also touching, hugging, doing things together, have fun, laugh, communicate. And yes, that is so. That's why I said earlier that intimacy, when you deal with intimacy, it's not just sexual intimacy. There's sexual intimacy, but you have intellectual intimacy where you spend time. You could discuss a book together. Discuss issues. That is intimacy. Bring the persons together, and of course, you have that emotional intimacy, the hugging, the touching, the having fun together. All of that. When we put intimacy, when we talk about intimacy, we are talking about it on a large scale rather than just sex. All right. Another comment here: more Christians marriage get divorced than any other groups. Well, it depends on how you read the statistics, or how the statistic is done, because I've seen statistic that said reason why you may see that is because more Christians are getting married than their counterpart, or those who are not Christian. So then you will see that. But it really depends on how you deal with the statistic. However, divorce is high in Christendom also. And mind you, I am not saying that as a divorced person that you are second class or anything like that. I believe that God loves you the same way that He loves all of us. All right. um and so when you have that, you're gonna live. If you are going your own way, if you said you're married or you're involved and you're going your own way, then you are really living a single life. And so if you're living a single life, you're not able to fulfill the needs of your partner, you're not able to help, you're not able to build. And the Bible says in Ecclesiastes, two are better than one. All right. So if you connect together, then you need to work together. Not only that, but it says, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. So here's what it's talking about. It's talking about intertwining yourself into each other's life. All right, intertwining yourself into each other's life. And if you're married and you're not intertwining yourself into each other's life, then you're really living a single life. Well, somebody will say, well, I mean, how about me, my personal space, and me being me? Now, marriage doesn't take away your personality or you being a person, but marriage or helps you to work through, and that's why those together. That's why the Bible says the two shall be one. And I often say it this way: it did not say the two halves shall be one. It says the two. So two whole should be one. So it doesn't negate that you have your personal space, that you have your personal time, that you have your friends and such like that. We're not saying that you get rid of all of that and intertwine yourself together. But we're saying that with all of that, you have to work through the relationship. And the most important relationship is your marriage relationship. All right. Here, let's read this comment. Lots of Christian marriages fail because they don't know how to truly enjoy each other. All right. Most Christian marriage fail because they don't know how to truly enjoy each other. And by enjoying each other, can you give me some examples of what you mean in terms of enjoying each other? And the truth is, I do agree with this statement because, Christians, and you've heard me saying that because I believe in marriage, I believe in living a life together. Oftentimes, you see the unsaved, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, those who are married who are unsaved, they hold hands, they hug in public, the man or squeeze the woman buttocks, or vice versa. They dance and together and all that kind of thing. And you see that enjoying of each other. And a lot of times Christians are afraid to do that. Right, a lot of times Christians are afraid to do that, so they don't know how to enjoy each other. They don't know how to go to a movie together because they're probably told that all of that is wrong and you should not be doing that and such like that. So we do have that issues, but and so it is true that many fail because they're not able to enjoy each other. So we're saying that you can be single even though you are legally married. You can be single in your lifestyle, right? You can be single in the way you behave, the way you act, the way you go about life, even though you are legally married. And that will end up, and that will cause, there are so many problems which we talk about: divorce, separation, you know, um, lack of success. All right, the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. So when you work together, you become more successful. But if you're going on your one track, then you are basically not married. You are roommates and you are single, and there are so many issues that you would have to deal with. Ultimately, in the breakdown of the relationship, separation. So we have been talking about singleness, and realize my time is almost gone. We have been talking about singleness, and I want to encourage you, for those of you who know persons who are probably married or together and living their life as a single person, encourage them to work together, help them. We may have friends, we may have persons having those challenges. Encourage them, And you know what? I'm going to say, oftentimes you see persons, because this is one of the things that I see very much because of the social media, and because we have it now in our face so much. You know, I've seen persons, they are on Facebook and on the social media, and they show how much their partner, they love their partner, or they're doing things and they're constantly showing them together and such like that. And you see that for a while, and then later on you see those same persons and you see them posting, and you're not seeing anything about the partner, and you go and you search their profile, or you checking on them, you find out what is happening, then for them to say, okay, we've divorced or we've separated or something like that. And you said, well, how is it? You know, look at all the things that you've been posting, and all the stuff, right? But all of that time, for some people, and I'm not, mind you, I am not saying this is the case in every relationship or in everything, but what we do have for some of those persons, what we come to realize, yeah, they've been showing that out there, but they've been living single lives. And then, as I said, it comes to the point where the relationship is broken down, and they've decided that, hey, we need to go our separate ways. And then when that happens, you see the post of, you know, I'm a strong black man, or I'm a strong black woman, or I am this and I'm that, and God this and God that, and you know, in justifying their position. But that is something probably for another time. All right. But we're saying that you can be married legally and still live a single life. That's not the way that it should be. So if you find in your relationship you are coming apart, you find that you're drifting apart, begin to do some things to manage that, begin to do some things to walk around that, to change that, because it is important that your relationship lasts. It's important that you live a life that would help you. All right, you live a life that would help you to enjoy your relationship. I just want to say hi to our mentor. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. Jana, great having you. One of our faithful follower here. Great having you locked on to Conversations with Dr. Els. It's really great having you guys. Next week, God's willing, we are going to deal with a different issue. All right, we'll let you know what we're dealing with. But remember, Conversations with Dr. Els is here every Tuesday at 12 Eastern Standard Time, or Atlantic Standard Time. All right, we're here each time. But before we go, there's another comment that I need to read. I think lots of Christians divorce because they go into it with the wrong expectation. They are looking for a perfect person, and no one is perfect. Everyone comes with flaws. Only God can perfect a person. And that is true. There's so many people get into marriage for different reasons, as we started off by saying. And, you know, we have to understand that we are not perfect, and we have to be able to walk through those situations. Okay, but I really want to thank you guys for being a part of Conversations with Dr. Els. It's great having you. Before we go, I want to remind you of what is coming up with Dr. Els, that you can join. And so we want you to join us on our Holy Land Classic Tour, December 6th to 15. December 6th to 15. Join us on our Holy Land Classic Tour. And you can message me if you are interested.
You ever dreamed of visiting Israel? And here is your opportunity. Join Reverend Dr. Eric Peters and Reverend Dr. Ellsworth fourth meal on a trip of a lifetime, a Holy Land classic. See the birthplace of Jesus, Bethlehem, Jerusalem, the Mount of Olives, Nazareth, and many other interesting Bible sites. For more information, contact Dr. Neil at 246-249-0322. Email klcablecounselors@gmail.com or Dale Lane at 246-822-5651. Don't you miss this. Have you ever dreamed of?
And remember, if you're not able to be a part of this trip in 2022, we want to also invite you to join us for our Israel, for our Egypt, Turkey, and Greece tour in 2023. Okay, so looking forward to see some of you joining me on one or both of those faith-based tours to either Holy Land, Israel, or to Egypt, Turkey, and Greece. And so, my friends, this has been Conversations with Dr. Els. It's great having you guys. I see Pastor Danny came on, one of our faithful followers here in Conversation with Dr. Els on a bit late, but we're glad to have you also. Remember, next week at 12, we will be back here for an interesting conversation with Dr. Els. I remind you that Conversations with Dr. Els comes compliments of Caribbean Gospel Jam and Kingdom Lifestyle Network TV. All right, and so you can find us there on Caribbean Gospel Jam or Kingdom Lifestyle Network TV, whether on your Roku channel or on the web. Remember, whatever you do today, add value to someone's life. God bless you. God bless you, and have a wonderful rest of the day. All right. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the day.